NTD ISL.
Go ISL.
Yes, sir. Recorder activation is complete.
Copy. And the countdown clock will resume in 1 minute.
Once we come out of the hold in 1 minute, the ground launch sequencer, which is the primary launch computer here in the firing room, will be controlling the countdown until it hands off to Atlantis' onboard computers at T-minus 31 seconds. The ground launch sequencer will check over 1,000 parameters on the vehicle until that handshake with Atlantis' computers occurs. "15 seconds to coming out of the hold.
Countdown clock will resume on my mark.
3, 2, 1, T-minus 9 minutes and counting. Ground launch sequencer now controlling.
Auto sequence has been initiated.
There is an optional hold at T-minus 5 minutes, should that be necessary. That's at the point where the auxiliary power units would be activated. And they do have a limited run time once that starts.
PLT OTC, connect the central buses to fuel cells per your checklist. OTC, that's in work. OTC, that's complete. Copy.
Standing by now to retract the orbiter access arm. It can be put back into position in about 30 seconds if an emergency arises.
let's go for orbiter access arm retract.
Atlantis OTC, it's been a long road with a lot of detours, but your patience is about to be rewarded. It's time to fly. Thanks, OTC, we're ready.
It was orbiter test conductor Jeff Laufer.
JRPS, OTC, start APU display recorders. Recorders are running. PLT, OTC, perform APU pre-start. That's in work. OTC, APU pre-start complete. 3 gray talkbacks. I copy.
T-minus 6 minutes. 6 minutes to launch. Also at T-minus 5 minutes, the firing chain will be activated and the range safety systems on the vehicle will be activated. And the pilot will start the orbiter's auxiliary power units. T-minus 5 minutes. 5 minutes to launch.
Go for orbiter APU start.
PLT OTC perform APU start. That's in work. CDR OTC reconfigure heater. Heater reconfig is complete. OTC APU start is complete. OTC copies.
Coming up, we'll have a steering check of the orbiter's flight control systems and of the 3 main engines. T-minus 4 minutes. 4 minutes to launch.
Yeah, go for purge sequence 4.
T-minus 3 minutes. 3 minutes to launch.
CLS go for ET LO2 pressurization.
PLT OTC cleared caution warning memory. Verify no unexpected errors. OTC caution and warning memory are clear. No unexpected errors. Copy. Atlantis OTC, close and lock your visors and initiate O2 flow. That's it, work.
T-minus 2 minutes. 2 minutes to launch.
CLS go for ET LH2 pressurization.
One minute, 30 seconds.
T-minus 1 minute and counting. Standing by for the handoff from the firing room computer to the Atlantis ground launch or onboard computers, ground launch sequencer to the onboard flight computers. And the handoff has occurred. Atlantis' computer is now controlling.
25. 20.
Firing chain is armed. Sound suppression water system activated.
10.
Minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. 3 main engines up and burning. 2, 1. And liftoff of Space Shuttle Atlantis, opening a new chapter in the completion of the International Space Station for the collaboration of nations in space.
Roll program, Houston.
Roger, roll, Atlantis.
Houston is now controlling. Roll maneuver is underway. Atlantis is heading into a heads-down position on course for a 51.6 degree, 137 by 36 statute mile orbit. Atlantis already 2 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center at an altitude of 2.8 statute miles. Engines now at 72%, beginning to throttle back up as the vehicle passes through the area of maximum dynamic pressure.
Atlantis, Houston, go at throttle up.
Copy, go at throttle up.
All 3 liquid-fueled engines are back at full throttle. 1 minute, 20 seconds into the flight. At liftoff, the fully fueled shuttle, boosters and external tank weighed about 4.5 million pounds. It now has burned half of that weight in propellant. Solid rocket boosters are burning 11,000 pounds of propellant every second. Coming up on 1 minute 45 seconds. Standing by for first stage separation of the solid rocket boosters. Atlantis is at an altitude of 129,000 feet, 24 miles in altitude, 25 miles downrange. All 3 engines are still performing as expected. SRB separation and staging confirmed. All 3 electrically producing fuel cells are operating as expected, as are the hydraulic systems, the auxiliary power units. Two orbital maneuvering system engines on the tail of Atlantis now assisting with the ascent performance. Those engines will burn for a little less than 3 minutes. 2 minutes 45 seconds. Atlantis 61 miles from the Kennedy Space Center.
Atlantis, Houston, 2-engine Marone.
Copy, 2-engine Marone.
Atlantis can reach Marone in Spain in the event of a single engine failure. However, all 3 are still operating as expected.
Atlantis, Houston for Brent, high load duct heater to Alpha/Bravo.
High load duct heater Alpha/Bravo.
Good copy, and we're seeing some ice in the high load fest.
Copy, we'll watch it.
That call relating to the flash evaporator system of one of the auxiliary power units. However, they're all working properly. 3.5 minutes into the launch, 108 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. Atlantis still performing as expected, 54 miles in altitude or 293,000 feet. Now traveling 4,400 miles per hour.
Atlantis, Houston, negative return.
Copy, negative return.
Atlantis can no longer return to the Kennedy Space Center now in the event of an engine failure. However, all 3 are in excellent shape. Flight control team is continuing to evaluating the flash evaporator system.
L1, Fast Pry Alpha to off, back to GPC.
Okay, we'll cycle FES-A off, then back to GPC.
Good copy.
That to
That's complete, Houston.
and that to cycle the flash evaporator system. Again, all auxiliary power units still working fine, as are the electricity producing fuel cells. 4 minutes 45 seconds into the launch. Atlantis is at an altitude of 65 statute miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center, 225 miles, traveling 7,000 miles per hour. Discussions on the flight loop relative to the flash evaporator system. The suspect, a little bit of water in that unit, but all continues to work smoothly otherwise. 5 minutes 20 seconds into the flight.
Atlantis, Houston, press to ATO, select Istris.
Press to ATO, select Istris.
Atlantis can reach orbit on 2 engines should one fail now. Again, all 3 still working fine.
Houston, single engine ops 3.
Single engine ops 3.
Approaching 6 minutes into the flight. Atlantis is now rolling to a heads-up position, traveling 9,400 miles per hour, 352,000 feet in altitude, or 66 miles, downrange from the launch site, 390 miles. A little less than 2.5 minutes of powered flight remaining, all systems still operating as expected.
Atlantis, Houston, press to MECO, and we're seeing good cooling on FES-Pri Alpha.
Copy, press to MECO.
That call means that Atlantis can reach a safe orbit on 2 engines now. Again, all 3 are still working fine.
And Houston, we see a nominal shutdown plan.
Atlantis, Houston, we concur. Your shutdown plan is nominal. Your go for the plus X, go for the pitch.
Copy, nominal shutdown, go plus X, go pitch.
Good copy, and you are single engine press 104.
Single engine press 104.
7 minutes 20 seconds into the flight. Atlantis can reach orbit on 1 engine now should 2 fail. Again, all 3 still in good shape. The call from astronaut Tony Antonelli here in the flight control room, a nominal shutdown plan, means that all of the scheduled activities post main engine cutoff are as expected, to photograph the external tank as it falls away from the orbiter. Brent Jett in the forward left seat. Chris Ferguson, the pilot of the mission, in the forward right seat. Dan Burbank between them and behind them. And Canadian astronaut Steve McLean behind pilot Chris Ferguson. Down on the middeck, Joe Tanner closest to the side hatch of the orbiter, and Heidi Stefanishin and Piper in the down on the middeck with Tanner. Engines beginning to throttle back to lessen the aerodynamic loads on the vehicle as it approaches main engine cutoff. Standing by for that call. And main engine cutoff has been confirmed. ET separation confirmed. Atlantis now off of the external tank. Commander Brent Jett will fire the pulse the engines on Atlantis to position it for photography of the tank as it falls away. Beautiful view of Atlantis as it falls away from the tank. You can see the jets firing those reaction control system jets to position the orbiter.
Atlantis, Houston, nominal MECO. OHMS 1 is not required, and no action on the cabin DPDT.
Nominal MECO, OMS 1 not required, and no action on the DPDT. Thanks, Houston.